the crime and the manner of its perpetration. If the murder had been committed in his office, the second bullet would have gone through the window instead of embedding itself in the wall, and the judge would have fallen in the spot where she indicated. "And where was the writing desk from where you got your letters?" was Crewe's next question.
"It was over there, almost by that your little bookcase there."
She pointed to a small oaken bookstand which stood slightly in advance of the more imposing shelves in which reposed the portentous volumes of newspaper clippings and photographs which constituted Crewe's Rouge library. "Now we come to the letters. You took them from the secret drawer in the desk. Why did you remove them?"
"Because I would not have the police agents find them, for then they would want to know so much."
"And what did you do with them?"
"Monsieur Crewe, I destroyed them. When I got home I burnt them all. I was so frightened."
"You mean you were frightened to keep them in your possession after the judge was killed?"
"Yes. What place had I to keep them save from prying eyes? So, monsieur, I burnt them all, one by one, and the charred fragments I kept and took into the park next day, where I scattered them unobserved."
"And what became of the letter you wrote to Sir Horace Fewbanks at Craigleith Hall, asking him to come to London and save you from your husband's persecutions?" She looked at him earnestly in the endeavour to ascertain if he had laid a trap for her.
"Sir Horace destroyed it in Scotland, I suppose, if the police did not find it."
"Strange that he should have kept all your other letters so carefully and destroyed that one. Perhaps it was in his pocket book that was stolen."
"I do not know. What does it matter? It has gone."
She shrugged her shoulders lightly and indifferently. "Do you know who stole the pocket book?"
"No, monsieur. I thought it was stolen in the train."
"That is the police theory," replied Crewe. "But let that go. Have you since the night of the murder seen anything of Pierre?"
"Monsieur, I have not. It is as though the earth has him swallowed. He keeps silent with the silence of the grave."
"He is wise to do so," responded Crewe. "Now, mademoiselle, I have no more questions to ask you. Your confidence is safe. You need be under no apprehensions on that score."
"I care not for myself, Monsieur Crewe, so long as Madame Holymead is freed from the persecutions of the police agents,"
replied Gabrielle, rising from her seat as she spoke.
"If, after hearing my story, you could but give me the assurance."
"I think I can safely promise you that Mrs. Holymead will not be troubled with any further police attentions," said Crewe after a moment's pause. Gabrielle broke into profuse expressions of gratitude as she turned to go.
"For the rest, then, I care not what happens. I am how do you say it? I am overjoyed. Je vous remercie, monsieur. I beg you not. I can find my way out unattended."
But Crewe showed her to the stairs, where again he had to listen to her profuse thanks before she finally departed. He watched her graceful figure till it was lost to sight in the winding staircase, and then he turned back to his office. In the outer office he stopped to speak to Joe, who, perched on an office footstool, was tapping quickly on the office table with his penknife, swaying backwards and forwards dangerously on his perch in the intensity of his emotions, as he played the hero's part in the drama of saving the runaway engine from dashing into the 4:40 express by calling up the Red Gulch station on the wire. "Joe," said Crewe, "I'll see nobody for an hour at least. Nobody. You understand?" Joe came out of the cinema world long enough to nod his head in an emphatic understanding of the instructions. In his own room Crewe pulled out his notebook and once more gave himself up to the study of the baffling Riversbrook mystery in the new light of Gabrielle's confession. Part of her story, he reflected, must be true. She had produced Sir Horace's revolver and, still more important, a handkerchief which he had clutched in his dying struggles. It was obvious that she or some other woman had been at Riversbrook the night of the murder, and in the room with the murdered man before he died. That tallied with Birchill's statement to Hill that he had seen a woman close the front door and walk along the garden path while he was hiding in the garden. Crewe, recalling Gabrielle's description of the room, came to the conclusion that it was probably she who had been with the judge in his dying moments. No one but a person who had actually seen it could have described the room with such minuteness. She had been in the room, then, for what object? For the reason stated in her confession? Crewe shook his head doubtfully. She evaded the trap about the pocketbook, but she made one bad mistake, he mused. The letters in the secret drawer were taken away and I have no doubt were burnt as she says. But were they her letters? Was Sir Horace her lover? At any rate, she did not get hold of them in the way she said. They were not taken away on the night Sir Horace was murdered, for the simple reason that they were not in the secret drawer at that time. End of chapter 23 of the Hampstead Mystery by John Watson and Arthur Rees. Read by Lars Rolander.